What's up everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be looking at my new product I just dropped on my store, the trucker hat. It's available for $3. It comes with your Marvelous, your Clo, Blender, Texture, Photoshop and OBJ files. So if you do want to purchase it and use it for your own branding, make sure to check it out. I do appreciate the support as always. What you're going to need is your Blender file, which you can get from blender.org. I'll drop the links below. And if you don't have Photoshop, you're going to be using Photopea. Work exactly the same. Those are the three things you're going to need. So once you have downloaded it off my site, please make sure to unzip this file or else you won't be able to use it. We're going to go into the file here that I've unzipped and we're going to open up the trucker hat. As you can see, we have the design, open files, previews, textures, and our Blender file. So let's open up the trucker hat Blender file. Once that is open, you'll see something that looks like this. It does look confusing at first, but it's really not. You can close this middle section because we're not going to be fiddling around there at all. And let's turn on the material preview. Once that's turned on, you can see everything is pretty much set to go. I do have a 360 rotation for you already applied, which is around 300 frames, which is equivalent to 10 seconds. If you do want to extend it, you can select these frames at the bottom here and adjust along the timeline, and then just make sure if it's say 440 frames that you change your end frames on your frame range to 440. So we're going to keep it as is. The first thing you're going to notice is the background is yellow. Obviously you can change that. So we're just going to click on this yellow section here and then go down to our color, and you can adjust it with the color wheel. Once you're happy with that, I'm going to keep it as is. We're going to go into our materials of the hat. So just click on the hat in the 3D viewport area and you'll see these fancy nodes. It's really not that complex. I've set up everything for you so it's super easy to use. The first material on the right here is your mesh. So it is currently black. Maybe you want to change it to a different color. We can just increase the slide on the right here and we're going to make it pink. Okay, so now we have it pink. Now we want to change the rest of the colors. So for the rest of the colors, we need to go into our downloaded files, go into design and open up this design file. You'll see that we have group 1, rectangle 1 and layer 1. Layer 1 is your UV, so do not delete that. Make sure not to delete that. You can delete this group 1 because this is the logo that I put in here. We're going to change the color to pink as well. So let's double click on this rectangle and make it pink. Press OK, and we're going to add in some text. You can drag and drop any logos, whatever, just straight from your desktop onto here. Super simple. We're going to add in a text saying Dan. We're going to press Ctrl T to reposition it. So this is the front of the cap, and then this is the peak. So I'm just going to put your peak so that you can see that it correlates correctly. And once we're happy with that, we can press File, Save. And then we're going to go back into Blender. Nothing has been updated yet. All you have to do is go to your viewport shader and change your preview mode and then set it back to your material preview and it should be updated. So as you can see, we have Dan over here. And then if I adjust the camera or 3D viewport, you'll see that the peak is reflecting there. We're going to change back to our camera mode. So we're going to view active camera and our camera is set up. Now for our stitching, you'll see that there is 3 different stitching materials. These are all separated because maybe you want the back stitching to be a different color. So I'm just going to go back to what the design originally looked like. So I'm going to go into Photoshop and just press Ctrl Z and go back until I'm happy and press save. And then we're going to update the materials here. Cool, good to go. So for our stitching, the main stitching is everything on the back, the inside and the outside. So if we go, it's currently white, maybe we want it blue, you'll see that it will update and it will be blue. So let's just keep it white for now. And then your peak is this section here, the color of that stitching, and then your front is the stitching up here. So I've just separated them all so you can change it as you wish. And then you can also, you can't really see it, but there is a little top section here. You can also change the color of that by just clicking on top and your top section is updated. So once we are happy with that, I'm going to change the mesh back to black. We're going to render this out. Now it's super simple. We can go to output settings. Depending on your aspect ratio, This is currently set up for social media. You can change it to 1920 by 1080 and it will now be set up for YouTube or long form content. Maybe you want it square, you can do it as is. And then if you want to change the camera focal length, you can go up to your studio here and click on the camera, go down to this little camera data icon, and you can just adjust it over here. So we're going to go back to our 1080 by 1920 for social media, and we're going to change our output to our desktop. Press accept, and we're going to export in FFmpeg video. We're going to make sure that in encoding we have the H.264 and MP4 setup. Now I do suggest exporting in PNG sequence, just because if it does crash, you can start from the frame that it crashed on and you don't have to render the whole thing out as is. Once we are set up for that, we can go to our render settings, and depending on your PC, if you have a high-end PC, you can go anywhere from 400 samples up. If you don't have a high-end PC, suggest going down. If you really are battling, you can even change to EV, and you'll see that the results aren't the greatest, but they still give you something. It just doesn't look as realistic. This will be the fastest option to go with, but I wouldn't suggest that. So we're going to go back to cycles. I'm going to set my max samples to 400. Keep everything as is. It should all be set up in the file already, so you don't have to change anything else. Like I said, low-end PC, maybe set it to 128. Don't go any lower than 128 or else it will start to look pretty bad. And then once we set up for that, we can just go render animation, and we'll start rendering out frame by frame, and it will stitch everything into video for you, so you don't have to do any video editing afterwards. Now you'll notice under last, it says the frame, how long it took to render that frame. Now you can time this by 300 to see how long the entire sequence is going to take to render out. That's kind of how I work it out. I always just render overnight when I'm sleeping, and if you are in a rush, you can check out Garage Farm. I've got a video, I'll link it above. You can render out stuff super quickly, and you get $50 free on sign up to render out a bunch of stuff to test it, which is great. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Once you're done, your video should look something like this. Thank you so much to everybody that does support my Shopify page. I really do appreciate it. Every purchase goes a long way, and I'm hoping to really grow this channel this year. So please make sure to drop a like, comment, and sub. I'm going to be giving away 5 of these trucker hat models to the first 5 people that comment below, and then make sure to drop a screenshot in raids in my Discord server as proof that you commented, and I'll be handing those out. Like always, guys, really do appreciate the support, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.